Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, viewers across the continent of Africa. Thank you very much. This is the editor's memo. In the editor's memo this afternoon, I and Miriam shall look at a badly prepared election leads to disaster. We want to use the Kenyan case study. Are we safe? Have we arranged this election? Or we have already planned for a rerun? If so, what are the indicators that there will be a rerun? Well, that's one. Two, we want to look at various factors that have led to where we are today. No enough communication in 3G areas. The Communication Authority of Kenya is not communicating with the IEBC. Voters register today was cleaned and never been published to people at all. People don't know where their names are there. It was too late. It flouted the law. The office cooperation between the register of political parties, who actually is bigger than the chairman of the Electoral Commission. The two are not synchronizing in who should be on the ballot. We look at the corruption charges of integrity, personal integrity, public interest, public integrity. When you look at all this jumbo rate, Miriam, we want to look at this. This is Dr. David Matanga to get in Mombasa together with Miriam Ogutu in Nairobi. Good afternoon, Miriam.
Dr. Very good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our viewers.
Good afternoon, Miriam, in the sense that this afternoon, this morning, again, the question of Kalonzo arose somewhere else on the show you saw. It's a pure waste of time. And offline we were talking. We said, hello, how long shall we be talking about this same thing? Who is able to make a decision, surely? Now, Kalonzo has just sent a message right from London and reprimanding anybody in the party not to speak anybody word against Raila Odinga. It comes at the position when a few hours ago, I tweeted after we have finished the first, I tweeted, I said, surely, Stephen, how long shall we wait? Even those who have sold their goats to be part and parcel of the MCA, their goats are gone and they don't know where to go. Will you be able to compensate with these goats? Then Kalonzo, a few minutes ago, released a statement telling people not to attack Raila Odinga. You know, the guy keeps us moving forward, coming back inside center. Now, he's now said, don't attack Raila Odinga, and he's going to come back with a statement. These tactics, therefore, bring us to an election. Why would the IEBC say it would like to clear Kalonzo when the Political Party Act, the Register of Political Parties, says Kalonzo belongs to two coalitions, both in Oka 1, Kenya, and in Azimio. To you, Miriam, give a background, notes if you have any. Then the editor's memo, we summarize it quickly and leave the horizon for lunch and space for lunch. Thank you very much. There are so many things in Africa that have made me very happy today. That's why at times when you tell people they don't hear, they hear later on, and then they say, oh, I wish we had followed your advice. Back to you, Miriam.
All right. Thank you for that. I'll just read just a part of a story that is on today's Daily Nation on page 4 inside IEBC's 44 billion Kenya shillings bill for the August general election, and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has budgeted for a possible rerun of the presidential election this year. This is a complete departure from the 2017 race, when the agency was caught flat-footed and unable to finance a runoff between ODM leader Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. Details of the cost of the election are contained in a 44 billion Kenya shillings budget for the August 9th general election, which will be financed by public funds, appropriation in aid and development partners. The final details of the country's election financing are contained in the 2022 pre-election economic fiscal report that National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani submitted in Parliament last week. While still staggering expensive compared to comparable jurisdictions, this year's elections allocation is marginally lower than the 49.8 billion Kenya shillings spent in 2017 general election, while still covering the cost of a possible rerun. So in a nutshell, and I think, Doc, you already mentioned that IEBC is prepared just in case the country has to go for a rerun.
Thank you very much. In the same Daily Nation medium, the IEBC, the Treasury says, during the electioneering period, there is anticipated a surge. What type of English is this? Am I the one reading wrong in the medium? Can you read that one for me?
During the electioneering period, there is anticipated, I think the A shouldn't be there, anticipated surge in corruption activities and unethical conduct requiring immediate intervention.
So that is what I wanted you to make a point, that I think the whole newspaper in London, the editor should resign. If it was honestly, medium, I want to tell you frankly, I used to work for Tesco. No, Sainsbury first. One morning, very early in the morning at 3 a.m., we were packing our goods. And one of my employees, I think, packed, expired by just 1 hour to about 3 hours. The following day, it was going to be expired. Medium, I just want to tell you the truth. These guys in that country, in those countries, they are strict. One of the customers got 2 packets of the expired meat. And this is meat. And I had done a very thorough checks, but I don't know how. By then I was not wearing glasses, Miriam. I had no glasses. My eyes were seeing properly. I don't know how these things kept. The general manager, the whole of Sainsbury in Wandsworth, in a place called Wandsworth in near Putney, it was closed. Customers who had come were told to stay out first. And the general manager called me and they said, you have brought so the music is interfering where we are. You know, people are doing campaigns. So medium and the viewers across the continent of Africa watching. This man told me it is over. David, we have given you enough time. We gave you enough time. We have facilities. We have equipment that can detect the dates. You as the supervisor, the night shift, you have to take responsibility. Can I tell you what I did? I took responsibility. I resigned. I resigned that morning. And they said they would pay me. They paid me. By then, they paid me even after resigning. They even paid me all my dues, and the agreement says they pay you 3 months extra because of unnecessary. So I resigned as a supervisor for the Sainsbury because of packing bad food. So a mistake of this nature where a newspaper national that is read up to Central Republic, African Republic, this Daily Nation here, you make a mistake of that nature. Not Matanga, I can make a mistake on my wall. Most of the time I make a mistake on my wall and the people correct me, but that's my wall. But a newspaper of this nature, editors, it shows to you the level of editors, editorial that we have in our country, the type of corruption. There are more. If you told them that write a story about Ruto, there will be 20,000 shillings coming. The way they will write this story, medium, they write as if God is coming to stop them from writing. But look at the mistake they make. You couldn't read that statement. Myself, I couldn't. But coming back to the situation, it shows the level of how IEBC is not prepared. The entire statement here for IEBC to ask 44 billion bill for the August general election, while the cost of the possible presidential rerun has been factored in the budget. Treasury has not indicated how much it is. So for me, this money is being wasted. Miriam, I want to tell Kenyans the truth and let them listen. You are wasting the money. If the IEBC cannot agree with the register of political party, madam, in the rate, they are at loggerheads. They are the people screening. Okay, another group which is not agreeing, the courts, where you will go for complaints, is not agreeing. The courts are not agreeing with anybody. You know, the courts are not agreeing with anybody, with the IEBC, that those people should be cleared. They should be stopped by integrity tests. We have done that the whole morning this morning. And we talked about it, that you cannot allow people respect personal integrity, which is Article 73 million talks about personal integrity. If you don't have personal integrity, that actually compromises the entire exercise. The public, you step aside. Now, institutions that are going to handle elections in Kenya are disagreeing before elections, telling me why we are going to elections. I leave it to you and Kirako. Tell me, if these three, DPP says nobody should be charged. Later on, thanks God, he changed his language. He now says they should not stand for elections.
That was the EACC. EACC boss is the one who came and said they shouldn't stand. The people who should not be even on the paper. The EACC boss, Twalib, I believe.
Yeah, but the DPP also in Mombasa, when he was near the president, what did he do? He changed it. Because the president was very serious. He changed the thing and said that they should be charged. So you look, the people handling the elections of Kenya have already confused the elections. Therefore, Miriam, believe me or not, this election is very tough, hotly contested. Two men who don't agree easily. Don't think you are bulldozing Raila Odinga and he will accept. If you want to kill him, you kill him, but Raila Odinga will not accept it far. That is a fact now, everybody in Kenya knows. Even when you tell him choose Kalonzo and don't choose Martha, he will choose what he wants. So, another one, a right-winger, an ultra-nationalist, who's telling Mishra, the MP of Kasese, to pack and go home, who's telling Matsanga to leave, to prepare, to leave by 10th, He has told me already that I should pack my goods because he will kill me. Oh, I don't know what he will do to me. So those people are on a ballot. Is this election for you? I leave it to you people. I am Paul writing the letter to Philippa, my people of Philippa. The Philippians chapter, which I sing here every day. My people of Philippa, I am a Gentile talking to you Jews. You have now got 44 billion that could build hospitals. Isn't it time for Kenyans, if they were really very wise, to stop and say, hey, is this election properly done? Has it been properly conducted? The ballot papers, where are they being printed? Who brought the agent? Who brought the printer? Who has, how far, the obstacles in this election? 55 candidates, presidential candidates. Miriam, even if you reduce them to half, still the ballot paper will be as big as a blanket that you always cover yourself on bed. Then you need, do you know, Miriam, can I make this statement here and correct me if I'm wrong? You will need an energy drink of Red Bull in order to go through all that paper, where you will find every MCA. There could be 30 people standing as independent in one MCA slot. And Miriam, believe me or not, it is a nightmare. This election should not have taken place. I'm sorry, I'm sharing it, I'm not a Kenyan, but from an observer point of view, what Matanga always says does not go wrong. People will regret, you remember my words, you will regret why you are holding this election in the format it is. The parliament is still active. They should have gone back and said, on behalf of Kenya, we either vote to give 3 days of voting, 3 days. Don't leave it to the discretion of the IEBC media. Don't leave it there. Just gazette it that we need 3 days of voting, because people will not be able. We are enfranchising the vote. You are destroying the people's morale. The people will not vote. The number of candidates, if I'm wrong, God help me. My friends in Philippa, Miriam.
Right. Okay, so a couple of issues that, yes, it will be a nightmare, the number of, the candidates that we shall be having on the ballot paper. But last week, I believe, I had the, Chebukati say for the presidential candidates, even for those who will be submitting their, their papers, for the independent, you're supposed to bring in 200,000. Is it 2,000, 200,000? What do you call it?
2,000.
2,000 signatures. So those 2,000 signatures must be accompanied by the photocopy of their ID. That is what Chebukati said. But what I wondered was, is that in the law? Because I think even for IBC has seen this might be a nightmare, but you can't lock people out. If they want to run and they're qualified according to our constitution, there is no way you can now turn and say, okay, this is too much and we are going to lock you out. So there's no way you can stop them. Even if there were 200 people, as long as they have met the threshold of the constitution, they cannot be stopped. So there's nothing IEBC can do about that. So I don't know if this new condition by the IEBC is anchored in the constitution, that these 2,000 names must be accompanied, the signatures must be accompanied by the photocopy of the IDs of the people who have consented to be supporting your presidential bid. So maybe that could be a catch, but again, it's 2,000 people, so that if you have money, then that is really not a problem. I'm sure a lot of people could manage to find that and photocopy and do all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if that is that requirement is within what the Constitution says, or somebody will go to court and even challenge that. Kiragu, as you've joined us, good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, Miriam.
All right, so your thoughts, we are looking at the preparation of elections, and we are looking how far we are. And of course, today, IBC has said that it's ready. Should even the country, should it happen that we're going for a rerun, IBC has enough money for that, and it is prepared. And I'm sure that is part of the preparation, because you really never know what will happen. And of the amount allocated to the judiciary, 95, that is in the last, budget, 95.8 million Kenya shillings will go to the Judiciary Committee on Elections to train judges, judicial officers and staff, and 84.34 million to the PBDT, and 20 million for the renovation of the main courtroom of the Supreme Court. What? Because of the elections? And 20 million Kenya shillings to the Court of Appeal and 40 million to the High Court. All right, so 95.5 million will go to the Judiciary Committee on Elections to train judges on how they will be hearing. This is a lot of money. But apparently our judges need that much to train on how to hear, the elections, cases that shall be going to the courts, and key among them, and the EACC also has been located some good amount of money, and the key among the mandate of the EACC in the elections is the pre-election monitoring and investigation of bribery incidents, which has been allocated 4 million Kenya shillings, and development of a database for state officers, 4 million Kenya shillings. So the EACC also has a role here to monitor and to investigate bribery incidents. So if that is the work of the EACC, so now if the EACC finds out one of the candidates has already flouted one of those laws, so what will happen if right now they can't even bar the people who already have seen to have participated in these kinds of activities and have cases in court? The EACC, cannot stop them. It's, so what, now they have to look at, some of these things that these candidates who shall be doing, like in the case of bribery incidents, and monitor and investigate. I don't know how this process works, but if we're going to implement the law fully, then we have to implement it. If the EACC have to conduct the checks and to clear these candidates, it should start from there. So you allow them with all these criminal cases on their heads and all these cases they have in the court, you clear them to run. And now if they go ahead and commit other perhaps things like bribing, which is against the elections law, now that is a problem, but you've cleared them from and they're having a more bigger problem. Look, I'm just trying to understand this whole thing. Hey, Gladwell.
Gladwell.
Miriam, I'm trying to come to terms with what IBC is doing, and I'm trying to actually wonder, is it actually in the Constitution? Again, they're saying they're ready, yes. A one-day election is, that's why I think we all mess up, because we have so many presidential candidates. I'm trying to figure out how that voting paper will be like. You got the slot of the governor, MCA, women rep. And then you expect that activity should be conducted with the whole one day, and the result should be out. The result should be credible, and actually the president should be announced, and hence to say that the election is fair. I think it's high time we need to do away with some of the things and how we conduct our elections. Again, Miriam, they're saying that they have set, I'm also shocked to the amount of money you're saying that has been set aside. Two, how do they know that there's going to be a rerun? Again, with that whole money, the amount of money you're saying that has been set aside to train the judges, is it necessary? Can that money be directed to somewhere else in a kitty that will help Kenyans? Kenyans are suffering, but they're spending millions and billions in a one-day activity. I just wish it could be a 2 or 3 day activity, or just one-day activity. People will be up, the station are open by 6, and they're closed by 6. So you can imagine the hours in between whereby people are supposed to vote. This is not a nomination. This is a general election. So everybody's supposed to vote. not a few, but everybody's supposed to vote in a country. And we know our Kenyan's population, the popularity we have in Kenya. So you can imagine, and that's why actually, Miriam, in these general elections, it turns out that the opponents, either the candidates, never accept the results. They never accept the defeat because, Miriam, you're also thinking about this. I want the activity won't work.
Okay. Doc.
First of all, it is a very sad thing, Miriam. You know, you have been talking, you have been explaining something that it widened my scope of thinking. That the court has also been allocated money amongst that money for election. To train what? Yeah, Miriam, this whole thing, this whole exercise, viewers, those watching us will be able to pick up this clip. I think it's only an exercise for eating. That the courts need what? 95 million?
95.8 million to go for the Judiciary Committee on Elections to train judges and judicial officers and staff.
To do what?
That's enough money to build other courts across the country.
Let me ask, to train judges to do what? To train judges to know the law, to interpret the law, are the judges. So the judges we have don't know anything about the law.
Because you do have like the election courts or something like you already have that.
Yes. Let me tell you frankly, I think
this is a waste of public money that we don't even have.
Let's be honest, we have a problem here. For me, I am not fully convinced that this election should take place. But I am not a Kenyan, so I have no worry about it. But I will put it in black and white, medium by tomorrow. You see my paper. It will also fly like the way the one of Zimbabwe is flying. I'm telling you, the whole world is calling me. I'm going to make my stand very clear to this. You are saying the court. Now, have they mentioned about security?
Well, the Ministry of Interior, I think, was given about 500 million. Was
that one, okay.
The budget, so it was given a bit more, but that is understandable.
Yeah, because you need police, you need guarding the ballot, but courts, we have courts, judges who are already trained. They interpreted the law. You come and say my votes were stolen. You prove to court how they were stolen, and the judge makes a ruling. Why do you give them 95 million shillings to do what? Allowances, food, cars, or what? You know what, Miriam, let's do, unless you have something else, let's do a takeaway.
The Ministry of Interior has been allocated, that is from the financial, 500 million in the current financial year. And the Office of ORPP has been allocated 454.4 million. And of course, the judiciary has been given 260.2 million, but from that, the 95.8 will go to the Judiciary Committee on Elections training. That is interesting.
Miriam, there is something that is very wrong with Africa. And if this is what Africa is, then the editors, Memo, finds it very difficult that Africa always gives us the bad name. You see, judges are already trained as judges. Their role is to hear petitions concerning the elections. You don't need special judges to make ruling on elections. You need constitutional judges to know whether it was done in accordance with the law of the electoral camp or not.
And what about, Doc, the EAC? Because I also I have a problem with that. Who's we know the key mandate of the EAC in the election is the pre-election monitoring, investigation of bribery incidents, which, as much as that is also an offense, but I think we're overlooking a much bigger offense, and that is over 40% of the people Kenyans might elect are not even suitable. So the EACC is supposed to be doing that, making sure Kenyans don't get to elect these people. So now we are going to overlook a much bigger problem and worry about bribery. Of course, that is also an offense. But how does this work? Because EAC took a break from going after these criminals. But now if they bribe around 50 shillings, 100, that is a much bigger offense than making sure Kenyans get quality leaders who they will vote for.
You know what, my dear Miriam? There comes a time when you say, God is not lucky with us, or God has not been lucky with us. So the best we can do is to call it a day, and I can see we can cross over to, we shall be crossing over later on to say, how on earth can you forget the 40%, then come to investigate a mere allegation of bribery? We should stop the 40% from going into the system, who will cause us more bribery.
And that should be part of the pre-election mandate of the EACC, to clear and to investigate these people so that they're given a clean bill of health, when we see their names on the ballot. But that is not a problem, because if they do that, then that will be witch hunt. So we are going to overlook that and just worry about a 50 shillings, 100 shillings bribery that Kenyans are given out there to vote, as if that is not a big an issue, that we're going to have more criminals in that parliament because EACC cannot vet them.
Thank you very much. Gladwell, do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm still in shock over the amount of money that has been mentioned.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This nonsense at some point has to stop. If we really have to live in the spirit of this wonderful constitution we have, then we have to be alive to the content of this constitution.
They don't know. They want. First of all, it is a matter of scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone says, what is your problem? There is a scratch here. There is some balance here for you,
But
sir.
public interest, and Doc, today we were looking at the Chapter 6. Chapter 6 has everything to do with making sure that the public interest is represented. That is, certain leaders must meet a certain level of requirement by the Constitution to ensure that they're able to serve the public at its best. The Constitution of Kenya is very clear, and everything else is about public interest and what's good for the people of Kenya. So at what point do we stop these shenanigans and look at what could be the best, scenario for the people of Kenya as far as, this constitution is concerned? And I think implementing this constitution will be for the best interest of the larger public, of Kenya.
Miriam, it is complete sadness that such things are happening in bright daytime savannah topics where the sunshine is shining deep. And there's nothing one can do. It is really a Saturday that I can't come to terms to say. One thing that has shocked me is to tell me these magistrates again need
for training. All those years they've spent in the university and the Kenya School of Law, that was not enough. They need to be trained, and that has to be in a tune of 95.8 million. And do you know how many courts that we don't have, we still need across the country? Do you know how many judges we still need to, and magistrates we still need to employ, so that we have, because our courts are understaffed. That is a problem that Baraga kept saying. And so this money could be put into other use that could actually benefit Kenyans, but no, like you've said, Now I think it's time for people to just eat, you know. And EACC will be there trying to, because now they're anticipating a surge in corruption activities and unethical conduct requiring immediate intervention. That there is an ethical conduct, and I don't know. Yeah, okay. Doc, Gladwell, I don't know if you have anything else to add. You can.
No, let me do a takeaway.
Doc, before you do a takeaway, I don't know if Gladwell has something to do, because when you do a takeaway, we'll be out of here.
Yes. Gladwell.
In the morning, we talked about integrity, and I think it's high time some of these values should start now being displayed. I mean, if you're saying that these judges need to be trained again, I mean, when they went to the school of law, that's why they went to school to learn about law. So what is new to be trained, or which judges are we actually talking about here?
And this does not demonstrate respect to the people of Kenya, which is one of the requirements of state officers. Please show some respect, even to the taxes that we are paying. I think that's necessary. Doc, you can do the takeaway.
Good evening, good morning, sorry. Remove that from the clip.
Those figures have really shocked you. Okay, come back. All right, now go ahead.
Because if I'm only looking for some little money to organize my publicity, and I have all that amount of money being given to magistrates who are ready to make laws, it's sad. It's very sad. This Africa will not be the same. Thank you. This is the editor's memo. Time and time again in Africa, elections have become the bedrock of chaos for most of the countries that undertake those elections every 5 years. Kenyan elections are not different from the rest of African elections. On the African continent, only one country, South Africa, holds elections which come out free, fair, transparent, and the people go back to work as if there was no election yesterday. The rest of Africa, after results have been announced, there are stones, people gather tires, people gather guns, pangas, rungus, sticks, stones to kill each other. Across the continent of Africa, several stamp examples appear. Stand firm when elections are badly managed. We can give many and many endless examples from Uganda, from Nigeria, from Zimbabwe, from every part, Tanzania, from Rwanda, from Somalia, from every place of Africa, from Kenya, and from Tunisia, from all those countries in Africa, from Libya. Elections are conducted. But do these elections reflect the truth? We take a case study of Kenya, for example. Kenya presidential candidates are 55 hopefuls. Even if you clear half of them, remaining with half, they will be 25. They are given between 6 o'clock in the morning when they open the station to 5 a.m. to choose among almost 40,000 contestants from different parties, independent candidates. How long will this ballot paper look like? What kills us, one of the reasons what makes me very disturbed is the number of hours that have been given for each voter in Kenya. 22 million voters, imagine. we'll be looking at 9 hours, 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours to look through a list as big as a bed blanket or a blanket or a bed sheet. So how will the Kenyan elections, with the literacy, which is good in terms of 80% literacy, but how will people conduct? How will people choose among the colors, the names, to look through a candidate, a presidential candidate? Then you look through a senator, through the governor candidate, you look through the senator, you look through the woman rep, you look through the MP, you look through the MCA, and then you look through, I don't know, where Angel Gabriel will come and assist you. Surely, Kenyan Parliament should have sat down and looked at this and brought fundamental changes to the Constitution that specific days either stagger the elections, have the presidential elections first with MPs because they have to swear in the president and he has to address the parliament. Then, in normal democracies, elections are staggered in two parts: electoral, local government, municipal elections in countries various depending on the name that you want. Even in the United States, that lectures to us about democracy. Their election is done in mid-summer, mid-elections. They don't go on the same day, all of it. It is a tiresome experience for you to elect over 40,000 candidates in 9 hours. Another thing that has brought me that this step can be split into two. Another thing that brings me the chaos and the agony, the anguish, is the question of money being given to magistrates, to courts. We have judges who are qualified, who have read the Constitution. For sure, for you to say 95 million will be given to courts for education on handling the cases of elections. It's very ridiculous. It has shocked me, and I think we are joking and we are jokers. Africa will never learn. Lastly, the credibility of the candidates, the credibility of the hopefuls, or the presidential candidates, hopefuls, or aspirants is questionable. Another aspect of questionable character is the relationship between the registrar of the political parties of Kenya and the IEBC chairperson, who seem to be reading from a different constitution, which is not that of Kenya, but the other one is reading from the Constitution of the Political Parties Act as amended. We have a problem here at our hands. I wish the Kenyan elders and the Kenyan people authorities sat down and said, hello, as much as we want this country to progress in democracy, as much as the election for 9th of August is a mandate, it's mandatory, there is need to readjust ourselves and maybe push forward for a proper arrangement of a good election. This election is going to be a disaster. You can see from the readings, there is nothing that will stop people coming out to say they were cornered, they were cheated, they were fraudulently done away with. And the last part of it, the worst one, is the same people who will be stopped from running will have to go to election tribunals, to courts. We could delay the entire election process. It could find us in August 8th, 7th. Some cases will be in court, which will lay a background and a foundation for a rerun medium or a runoff or postponement. I submit, therefore, it is high time the people of Kenya looked at these few things that I've managed to spot from the current situation where IEBC has asked for 44 billion shillings, which has been set aside for the elections. It is a terrible day for my East African state called Kenya. I submit.
Very well, and that is where we end the show this afternoon. We'll see you later at 3 p.m. with another conversation, and we shall be looking at the monkeypox and if at all Africa is prepared should that become another pandemic that we have to deal with or another health crisis that we have to deal with. We are still reeling from the COVID-19 virus. Join me then at 3 p.m. and we shall look at that and other news from across the continent. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.